Hello folks, this is my sketchbook video for this month, week, whatever, and I decided to do Jinx and Vi from Arcane. This is the last page of my book, and I was playing with some coloring, some stuff right here, as you might have seen, but I wanted to do both of these because I definitely watched Arcane and absolutely love these two, and wanted to do a color palette challenge. So I have all of these blues and pinks in my pack, in my area. As you notice, I do have a cover up I need to do, and that is from this page. Apparently something happened with this right here, which bled right into here. So I will show you guys how to fix that bleeding, fix that right there. But other than that, we'll get started. And first we'll do Jinx, and then we'll do Vi. So the first one I did was Jinx from Arcane or League of Legends, whichever one you prefer. And the first thing I tried to do was cover up that smudge that kind of bled through. I have no idea what happened with that bleed through, but I ended up finding out that the best way to cover this stuff up for me was actually to go ahead and use my gouache paint. And I would use a little bit of gouache to go and blend in with this picture, just because it would, it helped cover up some of those places that I didn't really want. It took a couple of layers, but I did get it done. And then I started with mostly the medium that I used for this painting was my paint pens. I used 3 different types of paint pens. I used the Simtap Artex ones, which, they do cover a lot of, they do have a good amount of coverage on them. So that was really nice to go and utilize mostly. But I also used my grabby pens, which are really good for those little tiny sections, and my Posca pens, which also are good for some tiny sections. And I only decided to use blues and pinks in this painting. That was just a choice that I decided to pre-do. And also I tested each of these markers out so I could go and get kind of a gradient scale. So I wasn't really messing with anything when I was working on it. I also used my Bic pens to go and outline a lot of stuff, and also even do some shadowing. So I decided to only use my pink ones, my pink and red ones, and my blue ones for this. And actually it provided some really cool effects and shadows while I was working on them. So it was actually a win-win for me. Why I decided to do Jinx and Vi from Arcane for this was because I just finished watching Arcane, and I absolutely loved the second season. I actually rewatched the first season with my boyfriend when we were before I watched the second season, so that was like really nice for me to go and get a refresher before I watched this the series again. And my boyfriend absolutely loved this series. I did too. I of course I did, because I showed him the series. I was like, oh my gosh, you gotta go and watch this. And that was really fun for the both of us to go and get something a little bit different. So, like, I played League like once in my life. It was because I was interested in it. It was a long time ago, probably in the early 2010s, and I wasn't really interested in it, and also it just wasn't too appealing. But also that is when I started developing a lot of my stomach issues. So I prefer games that I can actually pause in, or take like a very short amount of time, like Overwatch. So it, like, 40-minute games was not my jam. So I ended up going ahead and just, saying this is not the game for me. And but I do like the characters and how they look, and different things about them. So that was what really intrigued me about Arcane, because that lore was really a cool thing, and I've always been interested in that lore and everything. So it did take me a little bit to go and get those eyes done and fixed. I actually had to let the ink dry at some points in this drawing, because it was because I did put too much paint down at some points. But I learned a lot from utilizing that, and I wanted to make this painterly effect, just kind of like Arcane almost. A painterly and ink effect like I like. So I was really these pictures actually are very much an experiment, because I really haven't used these paint pens other than for my EOS drawing. So it was a fun time to experiment. And also, experimenting is actually a really good way to just, get those artistic feelings flowing. So as I was working on this, I was trying to figure out, I'm like, oh yeah, how can I, how could this look like black, or this be the some of the other colors in this image, because she doesn't have a lot of pink in her other than her eyes. So it was fun to try to bring those colors out and really try to experiment. I actually ended up experimenting off camera with this one a little bit too, to go and bring out some more highlights in her hair. I actually ended up adding a little bit of teal to her hair to go and get those effects. But I really liked, getting those shadows in, and, kind of playing with these pens to go and get, painterly effects for it. I have been experimenting more with different mediums, so this was a fun way to do so, and I really highly suggest taking a medium that you haven't really played with too much and just going ham on it. I know that in 2025 I really want to do more with gouache, because I love looking at people's artwork that they've done gouache with, and has made all that backgrounds and stuff. It's beautiful. And meanwhile, I haven't really touched watercolor or gouache. I'm more of a digital artist, so maybe going and experimenting with that will be a goal for me in 2025. I did want to go and pop this out more, so I did add a background color to it that was opposite of the main color. So this one would be this background color would be pink, while the Vi one is blue. And it really was a cool way to go and juxtapose both of the drawings, as this one was more blue, as Vi is more pink. And it just kind of made each picture go together. This is also the last 2 pictures for my sketchbook. My sketchbook is completed, and I have a I've been working on this sketchbook since 2021. So another thing that I want to do more of in the future is actually work on drawing in my sketchbook more. It's so doing these sketchbook vlogs and these sketchbook story times, and you know checking in with you guys doing while playing with my sketchbook is actually a really good thing for me on that front too. So I'm going to try to continue with my sketchbook that I use for Inktober, and maybe do some experimental stuff like with gouache and stuff in that, because it's the right paper and everything for this. With this one, I was very happy that I did finish this sketchbook as well. Again, I have been working on this sketchbook since 2021. My first Inktober is actually in it. And so it was kind of nice to say that this was done and this chapter's over. I actually am going to do a sketchbook vlog, so you guys can see all of the different things in this sketchbook as well. So you guys can look at all the different pictures and see my progress and see my growth throughout this journey that I've been taking with my art. I really got myself back into art in 2020 after during the pandemic. It was a way for me to decompress and to really give myself like a creative outlet, because my creative outlet before this was actually cosplay. So I wasn't able to go to conventions in 2020, and doing this really, I really have enjoyed my art progress, and I've really grown from 2020 to now. And in 2021, I decided to do Inktober, so that's when I got my sketchbook, and I really started my sketchbook that I'm using in this one, and that's when I started to grow with this. And in this one too, as you see, I might have some shadows right there, but I didn't really keep those shadows. I really didn't like it afterwards. I was just like, oh, along with some of these white highlights, I actually ended up turning those blue. So I was like, no, didn't like it. So as you see, I kind of go over with my gouache to go and, fix it. I was like, no, I don't like it. So it is what it is. This was a great experimental drawing for me. And as you see, I even went over it with some blue on that. And I go over it with that pink at the end, as I told you. And there, it's pretty much done with the first one. And I will say, Jinx is one of those characters that I grew to like in season 2. I didn't really like her in season 1. I liked Vi better in season 1, but I liked Jinx better in season 2, especially her relationship with Isha and her relationship with Echo. So that was one of those moments that I grew to like her more. And then Vi was one of my favorite characters in season 1. I always liked her story. It was a really, I felt like, being an older sister myself, that I could relate to her in that way. And so, being able to go ahead and kind of, show that they both come from like the same cloth almost with these colors, that it's really cool. And then with this one, using the same colors was one of my main goals for this. I did start with this red base for her hair because it kind of looked like a pinkish red, but I would cover this up with more pink and more of those layers later, which I thought was a good choice. As you see, I'm using a blue Bic pen versus the pink Bic pen for this one to go and try to give that juxtaposition you know, give that the opposites and everything. I still use the color scheme of that dark blue being my black, which I felt like was a good idea, along with using some of those dark blue Bic pens and some of the dark blue, you know, paint pens for that blackish color, trying to get more of that going. I did use pink for the pink Bic pen and stuff for the lips, because if I use any other major color other than, you know, doing that shadow on the lips for blue, it would kind of just look extremely weird. So I really had a lot of fun working on this one, because now since I did Jinx, I knew what I was going to do for Vi and trying to get her done. The problem was that I had to take a break from Jinx and Vi just because the holidays were just so busy right around now. I'm actually recording this video stuff after I got home from Christmas, so it's a little bit chaotic here at my household, but I had a really good Christmas, a really good time, was able to see friends and family, and I was able to, you know, get myself refreshed. And that was one of those things like I needed more than anything, was to get myself refreshed, be able to talk with family and friends, and really be positive about that. As you see, sometimes on this one, I needed to fix some of the colors on it because sometimes the colors just didn't work, and that's okay. The cool thing about paint pens, especially my big ones that were the Sip Tap, is that I can just color over it, like big time over it, and it's no big deal. And it was really nice to go and just be able to do that with some stuff, because sometimes it just doesn't work and you just need to go and just start over. And you don't want to start over on the entire drawing, it's just that the color was wrong. So that's the beauty of this medium in general. And I still use that that gradient, those testing and that gradient on the back of my cover for this, because that was a good area for me to go and look to see and test on what's the best things for that. Normally I have testing pages in my sketchbook now, just because I really enjoy testing my products anyways, but sometimes you just need to go and figure out like your gradients and stuff. And some artists like Gretzlowski and stuff, they will put their testing swatches on the side. And so I did feel like I could do that a little bit, but with this one, it just since I did such a close-up on them, that I felt like I just needed to do it on another page. So as you see, I'm just covering everything, and I really liked this blue that I used for Jinx's hair. So as you see, it does feel like it is very similar, but the problem was that the hair and her eyes were not, hair and Jinx's eyes were not similar, so I wanted to go and make them more similar in this one. So as you see, I will make it a little bit more as I continue on and bring out those shadows and highlights and all those juicy details. Now, I will use, I feel like in my next sketchbook, I am probably going to use paint pens a lot more too. It's just a fun medium that I really enjoy myself. It's just, I know that I want to use my color pencils more. I know I want to use my gouache and watercolor more. And I've done a lot with ink, and so I felt like my Inktober and doing a lot with the ink really helped with this one, because putting together things and you know, getting those dark lights and those other colors really helped. And as you see, I'm just bringing out those colors more now with those as I continue on with this drawing. So in season one Vi I really liked because of, you know, dealing with loss, dealing with her sister and everything. I really felt like she took a step back in season 2 a bit, but that's just because she was dealing a lot with Caitlin, and it was even though I'm like, oh yeah, the relationship understandable, but I really just enjoyed her growth in season 1 a little bit better than season 2, I felt. But as you see, I felt like I put a lot of love and a lot of effort into these drawings, and you know, I felt like, you know, I feel like with me, I want to go and put that effort. I want to put more effort into my drawings versus, you know, slap something on with in social media. It's just one of those things that I am always considerate about, because I know that social media can be such a drainer for artists. And actually, that is also one of my goals for next year, is more self-care. Stop comparing myself to others so much, and just do what I do best, which is, you know, make art and make good art. Don't worry about how the algorithm feeds into all of this. So, as you see, I'm pretty much finishing up. If you like to support me, go on to my Patreon and register, like, subscribe, follow, and I will see you soon.